my Mercurial mercenaries! This video is going to be me discussing and thinking through myself the Gizverse. Is that what it's called? The King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard Gizverse. This is going to be a meandering video, and if that topic doesn't excite you, I suggest you stop watching now. Even if it does excite you, this isn't going to be a particularly concise video, so you still may not want to watch. But if you do want to watch, and you want to watch me probably basking in a whole series of fatal flaws and fatal errors and mistakes and things that you can pick me up upon, then keep watching. I suggest you get a coffee. I have a caffeinated coffee from a machine with almond milk, so it's kind of halfway house in how enjoyable it is. But we have a comment section below, and I always pride this channel on having the best comment section that I read anyway. And like you, I read loads of comment sections, but mine just has the most kind of intellectually pizzazzy people on it. Even when they're slagging me off, they do it with aplomb. So, the Gizverse. My mercenaries! I'm still trying to experience King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard for myself, and it's difficult because you guys keep pointing me to links on YouTube with fantastic videos and live performances. You say, if it's so fantastic, Mercurial number 6, how do you know about any of them? Well, I did watch this Han Tayomi and the Murder of the Universe video. Absolutely fantastic. I did already tell you about it. I told you that I watched it, and it made me want to re-evaluate the album Murder of the Universe. This final track is absolutely awe-inspiring. One thing I notice when I read through my comment sections is that you guys, and when I say you guys now, I'm talking about what do you call King Gizzard? I'm a King Gizzard fan now. What do I call myself? A Gizhead? Gizhead? I don't know, what do I call myself? But you're all, when I ask you to put charts together of the albums that I currently own, you're all pretty much all putting Murder of the Universe at the bottom. But I watch, or rather listen to a song like this one, and the lyrics, the way it builds and builds and builds and builds. I know it's all about vomiting and destroying the universe in vomit, which is sort of schoolboy humour really. But the way it builds and builds and builds and ends with Murder of the Universe. I thought, I need to go back to that album, listen to it again, with the knowledge of everything else I know about the Gizzard now, and listen to that album again. Because I think there's the potential there for it to be... I said it was fantastic when I first heard it, but I had nothing to compare it to. I think it might be better than you guys are saying it is. Let's just say that. I'm coming still from a position of just listening to slabs of plastic. What's the Gizverse? You guys have told me a little bit about it. It's the idea that all the work by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard is somehow connected. I took my first foray into the Reddit thing. I just typed King Gizzard in and it brought up a Reddit page, and I read the Reddit page. I don't really know what Reddit is even. Does that sound weird in 2017 to say that? It seems to be just like a bunch of forums that people post on. And I read a little bit on there about, and it seems like there's two schools of thought. There's the people that believe that every album is interconnected and that the band themselves and the main guy who writes for them has an overarching storyline that he's always working to. And there's another school of thought that just says, really, it's just the three albums. I'm in Your Mind Fuzz, Non A Good Infinity, and Murder of the Universe. It's really just those three. I think there should be a middle ground as well. People, like, without any knowledge, and just talking off the top of my head, I would probably think, if I put myself in this guy's shoes, the guy who writes the songs, and you're building layer upon layer of lyrical themes and music, there comes a point where, yes, you can you can connect things, you can revisit past riffs, you can intermingle your lyrical themes a little bit. And I suppose if at that point someone says to you, are all your albums connected together by some overarching plot? You probably just go, yeah, they are. Are they? Are they? That's the question. So, here are the albums I currently own, okay? By King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. I own Paper Mache Dream Balloon. I keep wanting to say Dream Machine. Dream Balloon. We have, and this is the order I think they were released. All right? Paper Mache Dream Balloon. Then we have I'm in Your Mind Fuzz. Then we have Nonagon Infinity. Then we have Flying Microtonal Banana. And Murder of the Universe. So, let's go with, for the minute, the theory that I'm in Your Mind Fuzz, Nonagon Infinity, and Murder of the Universe are connected. And I think what we'll do here is, I know that you guys are connecting it via so many different lyrical themes, musical motifs, things that are revisited, reoccur. Let's, for the minute, define this discussion in terms of Jason Galea, Jason's artwork. Because I think the most obvious thing to say when you look at I'm in Your Mind Fuzz, Nonagon Infinity, and Murder of the Universe is the recurring themes in the artwork. And I think it's the artwork that is causing everyone to create their version of the Gizverse. Am I right in saying that? So in talking about it purely from an artwork point of view, I can also see that even the artist himself has the ability to build up a mythos over time and connect things that perhaps were never intended to be connected, but you can retcon. You can retcon things, can't you? And there's always the chance that I'll say we now because I'm a Gliz head as well, we can project what we want to see onto things. For instance, in the Murder of the Universe album, there's a booklet. There's this booklet. And when you open the booklet up, it's a book. Let's not call it a booklet, it's a book. Page 1, which is A New World. Can you see that? First lines. I know I said I'd concentrate on artwork, but even I can deviate a little bit, right? As soon as the dust settles, you can see a new world in place of where the old one had been. And in this corner here, we have basically a tree, a couple of trees. In fact, looking at it now, I didn't notice that before I started talking, but that must be the beast. Seeing as it's next to the altered beast thing, that must be the beast there, right? See the beast standing next to the tree? Can you see that? And the shadows cast, perhaps, by the beast. But I think it's pretty obvious, if you look at this thing here, that it's creating... Can you see that? It's creating the water tower from Paper Mache Balloon. There's the roof. There's the water tower. There. And the can you see that? And the beast is the little thing on top of the water tower. Now, is that intentional? Or am I imagining? Or am I imagining it? Is this where we get to with this kind of building up a universe around a band, where the band themselves are just going out there, writing, recording at a frantic pace? I've got to say, this is the most frantic paced band ever. Maybe not ever. You know, Alice Cooper would release a couple of albums a year in the 70s. It's doable. But if the band are out there writing, recording, touring, they haven't got the time to put into thinking about the Gizverse like the fans have. So perhaps a lot of this is just created like a dream. Likewise, in the fan theories that I must admit, my mercenaries, I've only glanced through them. Honest to God, I've only glanced through them. I will annoy you in that I haven't yet looked at the King Gizzard fan pages on Facebook. I haven't yet. I'm sure I don't really want to necessarily, because I think I've made a rod for my own back doing these videos, and I can imagine what a fan base is probably like. I can imagine I'd probably get some flack, especially with some of the mistakes I make and the nonsense I talk. So I'll probably stay away. But I did glance through the Reddit page, and there was people saying things like, even on this album here, Paper Mache Dream Balloon, they're saying things like, this is connected, definitely connected, because the roof of the water tower is a nonagon, if you were to look down upon it. It could also just be the roof of a water tower. It's so tricky once you try to see stuff, you can see stuff. Just like statistics can prove anything you want them to prove on both sides of any argument. If you want to see things, you'll see them. And I just wanted to discuss with you, all of you, in the comment section below, I suppose, what you really believe. Anyway, like I said I'd deviate. Let's talk about the 3 albums that are acknowledged due to the artwork as being connected. The next obvious question, if we assume that these 3 albums are indeed connected, and we assume there is an overarching design or plot or story, then what order are these albums in? For me, the most obvious order to place the albums is the order in which they were created. It would be odd, I think it would be odd, if you were writing... If you're writing I'm in Your Mind First and you're writing these songs, you don't know what your future is, and you write this album knowing that you're going to write another album before it, or this is the end, or it makes sense to start at the beginning. You get into the problem where, and I did a previous video saying I blamed everything on George Lucas, but when Star Wars was released, it was Star Wars. It was a film, a single film. There was no subtitle. There was no episode 4 nonsense. It was just Star Wars. No one thought it would succeed anyway. It was only a one-off film. But it made loads of money. And then they made The Empire Strikes Back. And at some point, they put a new title at the beginning of Star Wars and made it episode 4, A New Hope. And now all your Star Wars people go around calling it A New Hope. I never did. I never will. It's Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. It's revisionist. It's retconning. Deciding that it's episode 4. George Lucas will always tell you that it was always supposed to be episode 4. Whatever. Who do you want to believe? So, surely, stop calling me Shirley, the order is I'm in Your Mind Fuzz, Nonagon Infinity, and Murder of the Universe. Simple as that, yeah? Or is it? Let's just have a talk about it. When I look at the cover of I'm in Your Mind Fuzz, what am I seeing here? I am seeing a mountain made of craggy rocks, a castle on top of the mountain, a big ghostly Ghostbusters style hand hovering over the castle. I'm seeing lightning. I'm seeing 2 weird demon things in red flappy costumes who round their necks have some kind of necklaces on with faces on them. There's little red clothed figures walking up the stairs of the mountain, although they don't seem to be the same sort of people as these ghost things, because these guys on the steps have legs because they're walking up the steps, they're not floating up the steps. And the floor is like Tron with some smoke. What does it mean? I have no clue. But that's what's there. Next album, Nonagon Infinity. So we have the same mountain, because I can see the doorway. I can see the steps going up off to the right. And I can see the other steps going off to the left in the right place. The little red figures are gone. And the castle's gone. That's the most important thing here, probably. The castle's gone. Blown up, destroyed, gone, disappeared in a parallel dimension. The Nonagon is there. The floor, there is a floor, it's like a swamp. The mountain things are still on either side. So all in all, it's a very similar cover, but things have definitely changed. Yeah? Murder of the Universe. Okay. So the ground is back looking like a grid, as it does on I'm in Your Mind Fuzz. But the grid is concrete stone and it is cracked. The mountain is there with the steps going up to the right. Yes, there's the steps going up to the right. And then where the steps... where the steps should go up to the left, the steps go up and up again. So, to me, this is not necessarily the same mountain as this one. Am I right? Because why are the steps on these two albums the same? Goes up that way and then that way. Goes up that way and then that way. And then on this album, they go up that way and up that way and up that way. Is it the same mountain? I kind of thought it was, but I'm not so sure now. And these things on either side, I wasn't sure quite what they were, but now that I've spoken, I'm talking it through. That's what I said. I can understand that some of you are going to be criticising the length of this video. I do apologise, but I'm just thinking it through myself. I can see that on I'm in Your Mind Fuzz, these things on either side, these ghouls, are wearing these kind of Raiders of the Lost Ark trinkets around their necks with the face and the horizontal lines. Well, I can see now. I didn't realise before, but the things on either side of the Murder of the Universe, I can see these things here are the trinkets. Definitely trinkets with a face underneath. Trinkets with face underneath. Aren't they? They don't look quite the same. I think I'm wrong on that. I might be wrong on that. I can see why I'm saying it, but I believe I might just be a little bit reading things into it. This album, right, from the lyrics, I know it basically ends with the destruction of the murder of the universe through vomit. And here we have vomit. And I assumed that the vomit had consumed all. Destroyed everything. The end of this album is very, very final. You listen to it It feels like the band itself should never make anything ever again. It's so beautifully final. Beautifully final. Just like the Beatles on Abbey Road. Just beautifully final. Yet we have the hand, don't we? Was that the hand? There? Same hand? An interesting point to note is that when I first bought these King Gizzard albums, I was yet to be impressed by the artwork. I didn't know what to make of it. I didn't know whether it was good or not. Now, having become a fan and bought so many albums, spent so much money on this band, to be fair, I get that this guy, Jason Galea, he's got a style all of his own. Just looking through his other work with other bands, it's a very similar style throughout. And I'm beginning to appreciate it. But you know what made me appreciate it more than anything? There was a video on King Gizzard's official, bit my cheek, official Facebook site, where he shows the making of this album. So I'll put that video on now. Probably earn myself a copyright strike for it. I'll put the video on now because there's just a couple of points I want to make about it. The artist, Jason, is obviously using I'm in Your Mind Fuzz and Non-Again Infinity as inspiration and as a bedrock for the Merger of the Universe album cover. And for example, in his workings here, you can see that there is the I'm in Your Mind Fuzz album cover kind of overlaid on Merger of the Universe. And you can see that, you can see the hand there, yeah? And where the thumb is and the finger here, you can see that. He's drawn that bit round there and down there, you can see it. He's drawn that into the cover of Merger of the Universe, along with the edges of the structure of the Non-Again. So the Merger of the Universe album cover includes elements of Non-Again Infinity and I'm in Your Mind Fuzz. So because it includes elements of those two albums, it includes elements of them, it must be after them, which makes Merger of the Universe the final album. Can I also just say, when it comes to discussion of this artist's work, I find this process of creating this album cover absolutely fascinating. It's fascinating. The amount of effort he puts into the final product. I think some of the preliminary sketches or the stages of the work before the final product, I prefer them. There's many points during this video that I prefer what's on the screen to the final product. But hey, that won't be his opinion, that's just mine. But I also wanted to ask you guys how it is that he works. This is the only thing I've seen by him, this video, and it appears that he's got the proper digital workstation to do it all on screen, because you can see him using it. And yet, the final product looks like an oil painting, acrylic painting. So, which one is it? Which one is it? What's he doing? Is it electronic or is it physically created? Looking around this studio, because you can see elements of it in the video, you can see the album covers for Quarters or whatever, and you can see the paper mache models for paper mache Dream Balloon. You can see he physically creates stuff with his hands. So this Merger of the Universe album cover, is it digital or is it physical? Or is it both? Does he paint it and then photograph it? Is that what the end of this video is showing? The painting, the layers of painting that become digitally. Anyway, I just thought I'd ask you guys down below, just to discuss, tell me how this artist works. I'd be interested to know. So, my mercenaries, I think what I'm coming up with here is a different proposition to what I thought I would. I thought I would decide. This is what I thought would happen. I thought I would decide that The first album is indeed the first album in the sequence, where the castle is under the grip of the hand, which then throws it into the Nonagon Infinity. The castle is thrown into the Nonagon Infinity, or rather the castle's taken away and the rest of the land becomes Nonagon Infinity. And then the universe is destroyed by vomit. And then that's what I thought I'd come up with. And then I'm very well aware that if you start to introduce the lyrical themes and what they mean, perhaps the fact that the Nonagon Infinity, the never-ending album that cycles forever into infinity, means you can't come out of that infinite loop. So that would make Nonagon Infinity the final album. So that would make the order I'm in Your Mind Fuzz, with the castles under the grip of the hand. Things get out of control and the universe is kind of consumed by vomit, and that consumption ends up with a Nonagon Infinity, a never-ending whatever. My feeling is, having spoken, I've come up with this just now, just talking through it, is that there's no particular sequence of events here. I think we're talking about parallel realities, parallel universes. I think everything exists at the same time. I'm not sure you can distinguish a particular order here. I think everything is happening at once. It's like a big cauldron. We might be in the same time. We might be in the same place. We might be. Perhaps this mountain on Merger of the Universe is actually like this mountain over here. Because if you notice, there's a mountain over here of a castle. Perhaps this universe with this Tron plane, perhaps there's an infinite number of mountains with an infinite number of castles. Perhaps this is just one of them. But perhaps we're talking about an interconnected series of hellish parallel universes. And the Gizzverse has the opportunity to be anything that it wants to. Anything it wants to within an infinite number of parallel universes where the mountains and the castles play out different scenarios. In one universe ends in an infinite loop of catastrophe. One universe ends in being grabbed by a god. A god just grabs it out of existence. Another universe ends in vomit. And if they carry on like this, the King Gizzard, there could be another universe with a mountain and a castle that ends in drowning, a waterlogged cover. Another one could end in fire. Another one could end in sulfuric acid. There could be every type of hell played out across layers of universes. That would also enable you to have a universe within the Gizverse that is twee and beautiful and nice. You could have everything. You could have a universe where someone's just sitting down playing a microtonal guitar. If you were to subscribe to this theory that I've just come up with off the top of my head, which you guys will tell me down below why it can't be, you can do anything forevermore and say it's connected. And I like that. I'd go with that idea. If I was the artist, that would free me to do whatever I wanted. But he doesn't need freeing because he's already pretty free. So that's my theory on the Gizverse, my Mercurial mercenaries. I haven't even listened to all the albums yet. I haven't watched them on the telly. Haven't watched all the videos. I know there's themes that interweave. You say that Han Taiyumi is also referenced on Nonagon Infinity. You say that there's riffs that repeat and intertwine. The videos, the one video that I've watched so far certainly includes elements of everything that's gone before it. And I'm asking you genuinely now, is that because that was always the intention? Or is it being retconned? I'm just interested to know. I'm getting more and more interested in the band, and I can hear you now saying, if you're that interested, why haven't you listened to this or watched that or done this? Or it's because, well, number one, it all takes time. But yes, it all takes time, and perhaps I work in a different way to everybody else. I've never been one for going straight on YouTube and just Googling a band. I kind of like to... Perhaps I'm a bit old-fashioned. Listening to slabs of plastic. Okay, my mercenaries. That's my theory on the Gizverse of King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Please, please, please comment below. I appreciate everything you have to say. And yes, sometimes I'm too clever for my own good. Am I being too clever this time? Thank you. Over and out.